All right, so we're diving deep into the world of asthma today. Got all your notes, articles, research ready to go. Goal is, by the end of this, whether you're dealing with asthma yourself or just want to learn, you'll feel like an expert.
Exactly. From the basics to some new research, we'll break it all down.
Perfect. Let's jump right in. First off, got to start with the fundamentals. What exactly is asthma? Like, how does it mess with your breathing?
So basically, it's a chronic thing, right? Where your airways get all inflamed and narrow, makes it tough to breathe. But key point here, it's reversible. It doesn't have to be a life sentence. With the right approach, you can totally manage it and live a normal life.
That's good to hear. Not a life sentence. That's a big misconception people have, I think. Okay, before we even get to managing it, what are the signs? How do you even know if it's asthma?
Well, there's a few common ones. Wheezing, that's that whistling sound when you breathe out. Then there's shortness of breath, especially when you're active, and tightness in your chest.
I bet that chest tightness is scary. Feels like someone's sitting on you.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, there's coughing, often worse at night or early morning. Tricky thing is, these symptoms, they can come and go. Not always constant, makes it harder to pinpoint.
Makes sense. You know, in one of the articles, there was a study about emotional stuff, like patients use mindfulness and stuff to regulate their emotions, saw fewer asthma attacks. Seems like a strong link between your mental state and those flare-ups, huh?
Totally. Stress, strong emotions, even good ones like excitement, they release chemicals in your body, and those can inflame your airways. So yeah, mind-body connection, super important for managing asthma.
So it's not just treating the physical part. Got to look at those emotional triggers, too. That's really interesting. Okay, let's talk about stuff outside the body that sets off asthma. What are some of the common triggers people should watch out for?
Well, allergens are a big one. Dust mites, pollen, pet dander, mold. Those are often the culprits. Then you've got air pollution, smoke, even just changes in weather, like really hot or cold temps, high humidity. That can make it worse, too.
Right, that makes sense. But what about the less obvious triggers? I was reading about, I think it was occupational hazards. Like your job could actually be making your asthma worse.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Some jobs expose you to stuff that's really bad for your lungs. Bakers, welders, healthcare workers, even hairdressers dealing with certain chemicals. It can lead to what's called occupational asthma. Serious stuff.
So your job could be the problem. That's a bit scary. Okay, so we've talked about what triggers asthma, but what actually causes it in the first place? It's not just one thing, right?
Nope, it's kind of complicated. Mix of genetics and the environment you're in. Big one is family history. If a parent or sibling has it, your chances go way up.
So genes matter, but what about that environmental stuff? How does that play in?
Well, if you're exposed to certain things early on, it can make you more likely to develop asthma, allergens, tobacco smoke, respiratory infections, that kind of stuff. And research is showing that obesity can also play a role, makes it more severe.
Wow, so lifestyle choices have an impact too. Lot to think about when it comes to the causes. Okay, let's say someone's noticing these symptoms. They think it might be asthma. What should they do?
First and foremost, see a doctor. Don't try to self-diagnose. That can be dangerous. They'll ask about your history, family history, any triggers you've noticed. Then they'll listen to your lungs.
Makes sense, but how do they actually measure how well your lungs are working? I remember reading about a few different tests.
Yeah, so there's spirometry that measures how much air you breathe in and out, how fast you can do it. It helps figure out how blocked your airways are, gives them a good picture.
So it's not just are you having trouble breathing, but how much H trouble, right?
Right, and they might use a peak flow meter too. That measures how fast you can breathe OUT. Especially helpful for tracking things at home, catch any early signs something's wrong.
Like an early warning system for your lungs. Yeah. Cool. So let's say you get that asthma diagnosis. What happens then? What's life with asthma actually like?
This is where it gets empowering. Good news is, with the right treatment, you can still live a great life. It's all about finding the right combo of medications, lifestyle changes, and a plan tailored just for you.
That's good to hear. Break it down for us. Let's start with medications. What are the different types?
Two main categories: quick relief inhalers, also called rescue inhalers, and then long-term control meds. Quick relief ones, those have bronchodilators. They relax the muscles around your airways, give you fast relief when you're having an attack, like can't breathe kind of situation.
So those are the emergency ones, like a fire extinguisher, right?
Exactly. And then long-term control meds, those are more like fireproofing your house. They help prevent attacks from happening in the first place.
I like that analogy. So what are some examples of those long-term meds?
Most common are inhaled corticosteroids. They reduce inflammation in the airways, make them less sensitive. There are also leukotriene modifiers and LABAs, or long-acting beta agonists. Those help relax airway muscles and prevent inflammation too.
What about those combination inhalers I keep hearing about?
Oh, those are great. They combine a corticosteroid and a labia in one inhaler. Super convenient. You get both long-term control and quick relief if you need it. Simplifies things.
Smart. Anything else out there, especially for more serious cases of asthma?
Yeah, for severe asthma, there's biologics. They're different from traditional meds. They target specific molecules involved in that whole inflammation process. One example is omalizumab. It targets an antibody called IgE that plays a big role in allergic asthma.
So it's like a more targeted approach to stopping the inflammation.
Fascinating. I imagine those biologics have been life-changing for people who haven't found relief with other stuff.
Oh, absolutely. They offer a whole new level of hope for those folks.
All right, so we covered medications. Now, what about lifestyle changes? What can people do on a daily basis to keep their asthma under control?
Avoiding your triggers is number one. Might sound obvious, but it takes some real detective work, figuring out what sets off your asthma specifically. But it's so worth it. Can make a huge difference in how you feel day to day. Yeah, and it goes back to that mind-body thing we were talking about earlier. The more aware you are of your triggers, the more you can avoid them, maybe even prevent attacks altogether.
Exactly. It's all about being proactive, taking control of your health. And besides avoiding triggers, learning to breathe properly can be surprisingly helpful. Things like the Buteyko method or pursed lip breathing can really help manage breathlessness and improve lung function.
Wait, there's a right way to breathe. I'm intrigued now.
Seriously. You'd be amazed how many people breathe in a way that makes their asthma worse. These techniques can help retrain your breathing, give you more control over your airways.
Definitely going to look into that.
Yeah.
And of course, there's exercise. I know that can be tricky, especially with exercise-induced asthma. How can people stay active safely?
It's all about finding activities that work for you and talking to your doctor about a safe plan. They might suggest using your rescue inhaler beforehand, choosing certain activities, or just gradually increasing how much you do.
So it's not about avoiding exercise completely, but adapting it to your needs.
Exactly. Exercise is so good for you, mentally and physically, so finding a way to make it work is key.
Okay, so avoid triggers, learn good breathing techniques, find an exercise routine that fits. Starting to see how all these lifestyle changes add up. What was that third part of the management plan again?
The asthma action plan. We'll dive into that more after the break. But basically, it's a personalized guide your doctor helps you make, all about managing your asthma effectively.
Sounds important. We've got a lot more to uncover, so stay tuned for part 2 of our asthma deep dive. Okay, so we're back diving deeper into this whole asthma thing. Before the break, we were talking about living a full life with asthma. We went over meds, lifestyle changes, but there was that third piece, right? That plan.
Yeah, the asthma action plan, super important. Think of it like your roadmap, your game plan for handling your asthma. You and your doctor, you work together to make it. Covers your daily routine, how to track your symptoms, and what to do if you have an attack. So you're prepared no matter what.
Makes sense. Having a plan like that, especially when you're feeling panicked, got to be a lifesaver.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about managing those symptoms, but what about stopping them before they even start? Prevention is key, right?
Oh, absolutely. Prevention is huge, GE. And the first step, it's simple but crucial, is taking your meds. Like actually taking them as prescribed, even when you're feeling good. Consistency is key.
Makes sense. It's easy to slip up when you're not feeling bad, but those meds, they're working in the background.
Exactly. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't stop just because your teeth don't hurt, right? Same with asthma meds. They're preventing those flare-ups from happening in the first place.
Okay, so meds are crucial. What else can you do to, stay ahead of those attacks?
Well, monitoring your lung function at home is really important. Using a peak flow meter regularly can help you spot those subtle changes before they turn into a major issue.
Like an early warning system, right? How do those peak flow meters even work?
Your doc will show you the right way, but basically you just take a deep breath in. Then you breathe out hard and fast into this little device. It measures your peak expiratory flow, your PEF, tells you how open your airways are.
And if you track those readings over time, you can start to see patterns, figure out what might be triggering.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you so much control over managing your asthma. And speaking of control, another big one is your environment.
I bet cleaning and stuff, reducing those allergens and irritants makes a big difference, huh?
Huge difference. Dust mites, pet dander, mold, even strong cleaning products, they can all trigger asthma. So cleaning regularly, using dust mite covers on your bedding, keeping humidity levels in check, all that helps a lot, improves your indoor air quality.
So basically keeping things clean and fresh. Good advice, even if you don't have asthma. Any other prevention tips we should know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Vaccinations are important, especially for those respiratory infections like the flu or pneumonia. Those can really make asthma worse, so staying up to date on your shots is crucial.
Right, good reminder. And I imagine stress management plays a role too, right? We talked about how emotions can trigger things.
Absolutely. Finding healthy ways to deal with stress, whether it's exercise, meditation, yoga, spending time in nature, anything that helps you relax and de-stress, it can have a big impact on your overall health, including your asthma.
I remember reading about a study, it was about mindfulness and asthma control. They found that mindfulness actually helped people reduce stress, improve their lung function, even decrease their need for those rescue inhalers.
See, that's the mind-body connection in action. By addressing those mental and emotional aspects, you can really influence your physical health.
So it's about a holistic approach, not just popping pills,
Yeah.
but creating a lifestyle that supports healthy breathing.
You got it. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge, making healthy choices, working with your healthcare team. It's about finding what works for you.
I love that. And I know we've touched on this throughout our conversation, but I really want to drive this point home. Asthma doesn't have to hold you back from living a full life. There are so many ways to manage it.
You're absolutely right. People with asthma are doing amazing things, climbing mountains, running marathons, living their dreams. It's about finding what works for you, taking control, and not letting asthma define who you are.
That's so inspiring. It's easy to feel overwhelmed after a diagnosis, but hearing those success stories, that gives you hope.
Exactly. And remember, the more you know, the more power you have. Knowledge is key.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave everyone with something to think about. Think about your own life, your environment, your triggers. What can you do, even small things, to breathe easier?
It might surprise you how much you can change, how much control you have over your health and your surroundings.
Awesome. We've covered so much today. Hope you're feeling informed, empowered, and ready to take on whatever comes your way.
We'll be back soon with more deep dives into fascinating topics. Until then, keep learning and keep breathing easy.
And we're back, wrapping up our asthma deep dive. Been quite a journey, right?
Yeah, for sure. Learned a lot. Even I picked up some new stuff.
Me too. Okay, so we've talked about meds, those lifestyle tweaks, that action plan. But I think even bigger than all that is remembering that asthma doesn't have to run your life.
You got it. It's about being in the driver's seat, taking charge, not letting it hold you back.
And that's where knowledge comes in. The more you know about asthma, the better you can manage it.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to ask your doctor questions, do your research, connect with others who get it. There's a whole community out there ready to support you.
So as we close out this deep dive, I want you to really think about what we've discussed. Your environment, your habits, those triggers we talked about.
What can you change? Even small things can make a difference. Swap out those harsh cleaning products. Try some meditation. Stick to that exercise plan.
Little by little, those changes add up. We hope you're walking away from this feeling informed, empowered, and hopeful. You've got this. And remember, you're not alone in this journey.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep breathing easy.